Coins are inarguably the most important thing in Hypixel Skyblock. Whether you want to buy anything from the auction house, or buy something from an NPC, or even buying a dungeon reward chest, and even simple things such as reforging. So then I asked myself, how far can you actually get in Hypixel Skyblock without spending any coins? I will of course attempt this challenge on an Iron Man profile, since a regular profile without being able to spend coins is pretty much the same thing, and this disallows any cheating. And yeah, of course, some other rules are that I won't allow any gifts from other players or XP splashes and stuff like that. And I'll see how far I can get. And at the moment, I actually also haven't died yet. So if by episode 2 I still haven't died, I'll also add the no dying rule as a part of this entire challenge. So I then made the Iron Man profile on which I would attempt this challenge. And important information for the start, this first episode was recorded during the dying hours of Aura. So you might notice me getting a lot of skill XP from this log, for example. However, yeah, Aura is now over, as you of course hopefully know. And yeah, 2 more hours. I even showed it. I knew that it would be important. So yeah, that's it for the context in the beginning, and I'll show you through the journey. Okay, so as you might have noticed, there were a couple of issues early game. For example, you would need to buy a pickaxe at the mine merchant to start mining progression, because obviously without a pickaxe you can't mine. And yeah, I mean, before you write it in the comments, I already know that this whole time I could have just crafted a wooden pickaxe and kind of went for the progression like that, but I honestly didn't think of that. So I now thought, okay, fuck, how do I progress? And you'll see what kind of ideas I come up with. I then went into the recipe browser and I saw you have one recipe that you can craft without any collections, and that was promising pickaxe, but however, you need iron for that. I then had the really convoluted idea that you need to get fishing 18, because I thought the only way to get iron was through the iron golem sea creature that drops iron bars. So I thought, okay, now I have to, this challenge is really interesting. I now have to do all the fishing progression, and only then can I start mining. And yeah, it's much simpler than that. Like I said, uh, I could have just crafted a wooden pickaxe, and you'll see what I eventually come up with, because that idea never comes to me. Yeah, I then had the much simpler idea that mining sand with your fist also gives mining XP, and that would of course allow me to get mining level 1 and visit the gold mines. Yeah, and in the gold mines you can just pick up the lazy miner pickaxe, and yeah, I was able to start mining. I then quickly reached the deep caverns, and now is probably a good time to talk about early progression. So my first goal was to reach the Dwarven mines, because it's a very good spot to get ores, to get mining experience, to progress in the game. And as some of you might have already came to the realization, in my opinion, the Emerald Blade is the best weapon we can get without spending coins, because we can't buy the Undead Sword, we can't buy the Raider's Axe, we can't get any other decent weapon early game. So my plan was to reach the Dwarven mines as soon as possible and start mining emeralds so I can get my first real weapon. And that weapon is probably gonna be my main weapon for a big part of this challenge, because the only better ones I see are maybe the pigment sword, but that would take like months with minions, and I'm not sure if there's a better weapon that you can get without spending coins, because obviously dungeon weapons are off limits, and most other weapons have some sort of prerequisite that necessitates spending coins. And Emerald Collection also has a decent set of armor. After mining a bit, I found a very good example of why this challenge is so hard. So I wanted to be able to quick craft lapis lazuli, so I don't have to manually put in the items. And as you might know, unlocking carpentry is normally very easy because all you have to do is buy a stack of wool and give it to the carpenter. However, we can't spend coins. So I next realized, okay, I'm gonna have to go kill sheep for the stack of wool. So I went back to the desert and started killing sheep. The sword I have is actually the rogue sword, which you get for free from a villager in the hub, Jamie, and it also has a nice ability where you up your speed. I then realized there was a game mechanic that probably no one else has ever used in this game, where you could just shear the sheep to get more wool. Yeah, this was much faster than killing them, and I eventually got my stack. I then got all the lapis I needed. I got to mining sand, which was pretty quick to get the mining level 12 requirement. And just like that, I was able to get to the Dwarven mines. And now my first goal was to start mining emeralds already, so I can place down a minion and just let that work for me. And here you see I can't even buy the pickaxe you need. However, I am at this point using a lapis pickaxe, which has enough breaking power to break mithril, but not enough to break titanium. So this might be an issue long term. I've heard that you can only get commissions where you have to mine titanium. And yeah, that will be a big challenge to get around that if I somehow get that. That might be a soft lock for the challenge. However, I'm sure that there is some sort of creative workaround. And that's why this challenge is so interesting because I feel like for many things there will be a creative workaround. I then instantly started mining emeralds, and my stats are really, really, really bad. However, because because of the Better Together event, which gives mining fortune and mining speed, I actually was able to mine emeralds pretty quickly, and I soon had enough to make a decent minion. And that's where we will end the first episode. I'm not trying to make this longer than it has to be. I did some more progression, for example, getting enough oak logs to craft a small storage, so this minion would have more storage. And yeah, just more mining progression. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And write in the comments any suggestions, any tips, any feedback, and thanks. See you guys.